what you plan to or what you expect to see on Sunday?
Really doesn't change anything. You don't know exactly what players, so you don't game plan too differently. 'Cause you're not sure who they're going to be, but I definitely expect him to have some, especially with Sean saying that. But for our mindset, that can't change anything.
Is that a bit of a, if it is kind of wholesale change, a bit of a bummer just because you won't, that's a good team that you won't be able to play kind of the Rams?
Yeah, it is a little bit. I'd like them to have everyone out there. I think our guys would too, but it is what it is, and we got to make sure that doesn't affect us. You got to line up, play whoever you play, and if you lose your edge at all, as in anything in this league, you'll get humbled very fast, and we'll just make sure that doesn't affect us.
Sunday as locked in as you've been this year in terms of from a play calling standpoint?
I try to be locked in every week. I always feel I'm pretty locked in. That doesn't always resort to doing good all the time, but I'm always pretty locked in. And everything went well and it was good flow in the game, so it helped it out for everybody.
Maybe in terms of having a feel for what you're calling, feeling like this guy's going to be over at this point, the next play we're calling this.
Yeah, I think it does with, it has to do with sometimes what defenses you play and stuff like that. We knew we were going against a very good sound defense, so there were specific things that you had to do to open them up a little bit, and those still are a little harder than you'd expect to do. So when you're putting some guys in binds, and if you get a couple things going, it opens up some other things, and because we're able to make some key third downs, be able to stick with the run a little bit, we were able to do that throughout the game.
How's your game planning?
Face this week different than what you faced the last 2 weeks?
Each week's totally different. This week it's based out of a 3-4. Their backers on the outside are different, where you don't put your running backs on them all the time. The player that they have inside with Aaron Donald is different than anyone you face any week, and much more heavy in their man coverage. And but they're similar in terms of they don't do a lot. Wade has always been pretty much the same on fronts and coverages, and they're sound, and they make you line up and beat them.
How has your game planning changed in the fifth start for Jimmy as opposed to his first one? What's the biggest thing that you've been able to do as a head coach when you incorporate?
I think he gets more of a feel of what we're doing, and we start to get more of a feel what he's comfortable with, and it kind of it goes from there. You start to put a little bit more in of what you've had success with, and it branches off. If you had success with certain things, you can't put in the exact same stuff because that's all teams are practicing. So you start to do some things off of that, but it's allowed Jimmy to grow to where, hey, remember this play versus Chicago and why it worked, and well, we're going to do something similar to that this week, but this is the adjustment we're going to make. So there's a little more foundation for him in terms of not, hey, remember when we ran this in OTAs or training camp, this is what it's going to be this week. So it makes it easier to communicate and coach and have him envision a little bit better. And then it just depends on who we're playing.
Do you look forward to this sort of developing into kind of a long-term divisional rivalry with you and Sean, both in your first years, you guys both having up-and-coming quarterbacks? Is there value to you in having a long-term rival that you could sort of measure yourself against?
I look at anybody in your division as, you're going to be pretty big rivals with wherever you are, and especially, in the NFC West with the Rams and the Niners. It's been that way for a while. I think the hard rivals ends up being usually who the better teams in the division are. So I hope that we're up there as we get going. I know the Rams are there this year. So we're excited to get to play them. Again, I wish they had all their guys going. We'll see what happens, but hopefully that can be built as we get going, that we'll all both be up there each year. And the more you do that, I think the Niners and Seahawks had that going for a while. We'll see which teams start to do that now.
After you faced them in week 3, did you see them as the front runner for the NFC West, and did you recognize Super Bowl traits in them?
Definitely recognize Super Bowl traits. I knew there was a lot of good teams in the division. I know Arizona and Seattle had just as good a chance as anyone at the beginning of the year too. But going against that defense over the years, knowing some of the players they have on their D, knowing some of the players they have on their offense with improvement in what they did to the O-line, getting the system in that they did, knowing how good, top-notch their special teams are. I think very easily you could see quickly that if they were able to stay healthy, they were going to have as good a chance as anyone.
Foster has overcome the major injury he came to the team with, but he's had a lot of minor injuries along the way. How much of a concern are those to you?
It's similar to what I said a couple days ago. Anytime a guy goes down a lot, you always are concerned. Since he came back from the broken rib, he hasn't missed any games. He has gotten banged up each week, and the way he plays and the position he plays, I know there's that's going to be part of his whole career and how it has been so far, just playing in college and stuff. That goes with playing that position and how he plays it. But I think as Ruben gets older, takes care of his body week around in the off season too. I think it'll be nicer going into this off season where he can come to OTAs and training camp much more prepared instead of trying to recover from a surgery. I think that could help too. So, he's had a hell of a year. Definitely not there yet. We've got a long way to go, but staying healthy will be a big part of it.
I know Nick Vate got a lot of credit for being in the year of golf and getting to the line early. But I know that's something that you've always done. Do you ever worry about that or think about that, or something that you've done that he's kind of getting credit for? Or does that?
Not really, just because I've been doing it for a while. I promise you I wasn't the first person to do it. Lots of people do that. So when you do good, you get a lot of attention for it. When you do bad, you get a lot of negative attention. So that just goes with the business, and they've done a hell of a job there. Sean's done an unbelievable job with Matt LaFleur, and I got a lot of respect for their offense because it's very similar, and know a lot of what they're doing, and they feel the same about us, and we'll have some fun conversations about it in the offseason.
You mentioned, not paying attention to the outside noise and things like that. How do you think he's handled success from your vantage point?
He seems the same every day, so I think that doesn't seem like just talk. I do believe that when he says it, because he seems the same today being with him as he did 5 weeks ago when we got him, and I think that's the key to everything. You find out about a lot about people through adversity, but you also do through success, and we've had some the last few weeks. I think we got a lot of attention, way too much probably, but we've been happy with how we've been playing, and hopefully we can finish this up strong, and that'll lead us excited going into next year.
Upside, do you think he still has? He's only started 6 NFL games. Is there still more for him to do? And if so, what areas are those in?
Just everything. Yeah, there's a lot more. That's not just him, that's everybody. But, we've been playing good football. He's been playing very well. I think he's gotten better each week, but by no means has anyone on our team arrived. We've got a lot of work to do. I know he's won all his games in, but very easily we could have lost a number of those games. And as I'll say pretty much almost every day, you never stay the same, you get better or worse. So we got to keep going back to work, and hopefully we'll be better this Sunday than we were last week.
Say there's way too much attention. Is that mainly because there's no playoffs at stake?
Well, yeah, just the, you guys using I know Carlos said it, but I heard the Super Bowl quote this week and things like that, and I think Carlos was being a little facetious on that, but it's you hear a lot about it. I just keep everything in perspective. We lost 5 games in a row this year by 3 points or less. That means we very easily could have won those. If we would have started out 5-1, who knows how everyone would have been talking. And the reality is we wouldn't have been much different than we were as an 0-6 team. And so the ball's got to bounce a few ways, and things can change very quickly for you. And I look at these last 5 games similar. We definitely are playing better ball. Definitely takes a lot to win those games instead of finding ways to lose them by just a small margin. But I've been in this long enough to always keep perspective and understand that ball goes a lot of different ways. And sometimes a 10-6 team is not much different than a 5-11 team. It's just a couple plays here and there, and who stays healthy.
No, you spoke more about Jimmy, and he seems to be really good with the off schedule and really good when coverage drops to find the open guy. Can you take advantage of that, and can you have him do more, say at the line of scrimmage, and have him determine what matchups he wants, those types of things? Is he that type of quarterback?
Yeah, we'll see as we go. He's done a good job of it so far. Everyone's different. Some guys want to be out there and control everything, and you got to keep it very simple when it's like that so they can think a lot during the play. Some people want you to do a ton of stuff and help get people open, and then let them just stay clear-minded and let it rip. We'll see as that goes. I've had a lot of fun with him in this month, and we'll have a lot more fun this offseason really talking about that stuff and where we can go with this. But you talk about the off schedules, that's what's been great. I've struggled, not me personally, but you get some 3-man rushes and stuff in the red zone, and you got 8 guys against 4, 5 if you scratch your back out, and those aren't really good numbers, and it's especially to hit people in rhythm. And I always sit there and right when I see that it's over, I feel like the play's done. But Jimmy has proved wrong the last few weeks, and that's been real fun for me, seeing no one open and then knowing that maybe that's a good thing because he ends up getting someone open late. So the off-schedule plays have been the best thing to me personally. But I think there's huge upside there and a lot of things we can do.
Have you come up with scramble plays with your quarterbacks before, or does that have to be organic between the quarterback and the receiver?
I think it's organic. I think I've been tons of places and you try to coach them. Whatever rules I've learned or heard from people and studied, it works good and sounds nice, but then you watch it and you pause it and you say, what about our rules here? And they're like, oh no, don't do them there, don't do them there. And it's basically hard to have rules to something off schedule and chaotic. So the main thing we stress is guys just to keep working, distribute the field, keep working, never stop and just watch the play. And the more you do it, the better you get at it. I don't like practicing a lot or putting in plays that don't get people open. So you have to worry about doing that. But, we've had a number of times in this last month where he's made some off-schedule plays, and the more it happens, guys start to believe in it, and the more guys start working to do it.
There have been a few plays over the last couple of weeks where is it a catch, is it not a catch, and in pivotal moments. You had one where had a fumble recovery for a touchdown. Jack of ours ended up getting it back, scoring a touchdown. Do you think the rule is clear as is? Would you like it to be continue to be reworked and improved?
Yeah, I think it's everyone would like it to be right, so there's no gray area. But I mean, if you got to have a solution to do it too, and your solution can't open up a whole nother can of worms. I don't want everything being called completions now, and everything's a fumble left and right. So it's I get the dilemma. I think it frustrates everyone, but it's also a legitimate issue. So that's why when you get in stuff close like that, I don't think it is completely definitive. I think it could go either way. So a lot of times in those situations, if it's a big turnover, a big play, whether I think we're right or wrong, I just do it anyways, because I do think there's a chance. Even if we don't think it's a fumble, we know there's a chance it might be. So if it was for like a 2-yard gainer difference, you don't worry about it. But when it has to do with getting the ball back or scoring 7 points off of it, because of the way the rule it is and that it is confusing to people, to make the exact answer, to me, that's why if it's a big play, you gamble.
How did Solomon play on Sunday, and what's been your assessment of just his rookie season?
I think Solomon had one of his best games Sunday. He affected the game in the pass game and the run game, ran to the ball real hard. Just like most rookies, I think he's been up and down throughout the year. I thought he started off playing hard, started getting was playing at his highest level right before his injury. I know the injury was frustrating for him, took a little longer for him to come back. Once he did come back, I thought he was a little bit rusty, like they all are when they miss some time. And I think these last 3 weeks, he's gotten better each week and put together his best game last week, and hopefully he finishes with his best game of the year this week.